Hi, I'm Dr. Molly with Your Goals Physical Therapy. And in passing, I was talking with somebody who asked me if plantar fasciitis would just go away on its own. Apparently, this poor woman has been suffering from having her feet hurt for several months, going into some years. She, like many people with plantar fasciitis, kind of has this up and down where sometimes it's just like a mild ache every day, and then some days it feels like she just can't walk on her own feet. She has a lot of problems in the morning. Those first couple steps, she really feels like she's walking on eggshells, and then she starts to get a rhythm going and she's okay after that for a few hours. When she sits for long periods at her desk, it feels like she has to start all over again. So she gets like she has to do those couple steps before she can get things moving again. She had been to her doctor, who sent her to an orthopedist or a podiatrist, and they gave her injections for cortisone, and that helped for a while, but then slowly over time, that plantar fasciitis came back. So then she tried some, really expensive orthotics, and that was annoying because they only fit in sneakers. So after doing some research, she found another place that has really nice inserts that fits in like cute shoes. So she was a little bit happier, but she still has this pain that just keeps coming back over time. And she was wondering how you get rid of it. She'd done physical therapy before where they had her do like the towel crunches and some ankle motion. And she's like, but I didn't really see a point. And so I didn't keep going, which makes sense. She's like, so I do all the stretches they tell me, and I try really hard to get rid of this, but it's not going away. And I just want to know if eventually it will finally just work itself out. And I said, well, it kind of depends on what the problem is, but what you're describing sounds like it's more how you're walking. So if stretching only mildly gets rid of it, then that tells me that stretching sort of calms down the tissue for a temporary bounce of time, but something is causing that fascia to be irritated. And she obviously had a follow-up question. She's like, I don't really understand what the fascia is. Like, why is it getting so irritated? And so here it is. This is what a lot of people have problems with, and this is why stretching is such a complicated thing. Everybody has, their own foot shape. Some people have high arches, some people have flat feet. But all of us have basically a thick, it's tissue, so it's almost like a ligament that goes from, if this is a foot, right? So this is, you have toes, right? Just like you do on your hands. This would be the ball of your foot. So in theory, this is what you like rock up onto when you're doing heel raises. And then this would be where your heel is. So everybody has this really thick tissue that connects this. And what that's supposed to do is help you keep the arch in your foot, so that when you're absorbing impact, it just gives a little bit and then comes back, but that your foot doesn't completely drop to the ground. So your arch doesn't completely hit the floor. It's kind of like a little shock absorber, but it's not meant to be stretched. So all those foot stretches you see people do up against a wall with their toes, and they're trying to get that bottom of the foot. It's not supposed to be stretched. So if it feels good, I'm not going to tell anybody not to do something that doesn't feel good, but that's not going to stop you from having plantar fasciitis, because the fascia is not supposed to be stretched, which is one reason it's irritated. So one thing that is common among every person that I've ever treated that has plantar fasciitis is when they walk, they pivot on the inside of that big toe. So when they're walking towards somebody, they end up hitting their heel, and then their foot kind of collapses in, so their arch drops, and they're pivoting on the outside of that big toe. And so even if it's a slight thing, that's kind of the walking mechanism. And what that's doing is every step that they're taking, they're adding stress to that fascia. And it's just like a little annoyance, a little annoyance, a little annoyance all day long, every step they take. And so what happens is over time it creates inflammation, which then irritates more things, and so on and so on. So when people go get cortisone shots, they're amazing because they get rid of the inflammation, but they're not addressing what's happening at your foot that's causing that. So then that's what the question is. You need to see somebody who's going to watch you move to determine, is it really just that you need extra arch support, which seems to be the common thing when people are trying to sell you inserts for your shoes? Is it something coming from your hip that's not stabilizing your foot? Is it something coming from your core that's not allowing your hip to stabilize, that's not allowing your foot? Is there a tight calf issue? Is there something else going on? And that is what I help people tease out. It's not as simple as something is just annoyed and we just need to we just need to put ice, stretch it, do some simple seated, exercises, and then everything will resolve. Normally with plantar fasciitis, you're talking about a dynamic problem. There's more than one thing going on. And that's what needs to be addressed to really get rid of the problem. But with that method, you can go back to running. You can run upstairs, let alone just walk up them. You can get up in the morning without foot pain and take those first couple steps and not feel like you're on eggshells. You can sit at your desk at your office and stand up without even thinking about it. You could buy expensive inserts or not buy expensive inserts. And so that is what I help people do when they come and see me for plantar fasciitis. So if this is the type of service that you're looking for, feel free to send me a message and let's talk about your specific needs.